Hey guys, my name is Nick Parker. I'm the community manager here at CV in Africa. This is my colleague Zach.
What's up?
And as we normally do at this time of the month, it's kind of a look back on what's happened for CV Outreach in the month of October. This is our beautiful office in Cape Town, South Africa. So if you've just joined us, as I said, my name's Nick and this is Zach. So we have a very unique opportunity, obviously, with the grant, in that we're leveraging Google and the Google Grant program to really use it as an outreach tool in partnership with you and the local church. So currently in South Africa, or should I say in Africa, there's only three places where the grant is currently viable, or not viable, but that Google has given access to the grant. That is South Africa, Kenya, and Botswana. So currently what we've done is we launched South Africa last year. Obviously, being based in South Africa, it's a bit easier for us. So we launched South Africa last year. We now, as we went into 2018, decided to launch Kenya. So what we've done is we've kind of shifted roles a little bit. So Zach now oversees CV Outreach in South Africa, and I've kind of taken on CV Outreach Kenya. So for those of you in Kenya, you've probably spoken to me on the phone, or we've had a video call, or we've chatted via email. And for those of you in South Africa, more than likely you've probably chatted to Zach.
Yes.
So I thought it'd be a cool time just for Zach to join, maybe talk a little bit about what's happening in South Africa, maybe just share some of the stats from October with you guys, just to kind of give you a picture of what's really happening with CV Outreach. I think the thing that's quite unique as well is that even though you yourself might not have received a lot of response this month, we actually did get quite a significant amount across South Africa. So remember, your response is also determined by people in your direct community asking certain questions on Google. So if there's a month where maybe you didn't get a response, or you only got one or two, it just means people in your direct community weren't necessarily asking those questions. And maybe that's something we need to work on. And that's also feedback we'd love from you guys. So maybe Zach, just talk about where we are with South Africa at the moment, some of the content that we have, some of the stuff that's working.
Yeah, I mean, right now at the moment, we have 57 live churches in South Africa.
So 57 churches in South Africa running CV Outreach Google Grant.
And obviously we're chatting to many different churches, you know, introducing them to CV Outreach, what it is we're doing to just kind of get them on board. With the program.
And that's multi-denominational? That's not...
Yeah, that's multi-denominational. Okay. So, I mean, we're speaking with, Reach churches and full gospel churches and non-denominational churches.
AG churches and stuff.
Yeah, so that's great. And then last month was a fairly good month. I think we had it was over 250 responses across all of the CV Outreach.
So that's 250 divided by the 57.
Yeah.
Then again, if it's closer to your area, maybe you got 10 and a guy in another church in another area.
So I mean, it again, like Nick said, it's all involving your direct area where you live. And I know sometimes it can be a bit like, okay, well, why didn't I get any responses? But again, it's directly in response to people in your area, searching for things. And we wanted to make sure that people are getting through the doors of the church. It's not just about getting a response, responding, answering a prayer, but it's rather that direct contact with someone, inviting them to church, getting them into the doors and such. So, cool. So it's growing. Right now, we are looking at targeting a few key cities throughout South Africa.
Maybe talk a little bit about that.
So we've noticed that we have almost like a footprint throughout South Africa where people are searching different topics, different ideas, different things in Google. And we've noticed a trend that there's certain cities that the people are in that the response is coming from. But unfortunately, we don't have CV Outreach partners in those cities. So we've got cities like Upington that we're getting response from, Kimberley we're getting response from, Bloemfontein, George, East London, Polokwane. I think there was Rustenburg, just different
So those
cities.
are all places where we unfortunately at the moment don't have a church running the grant program, but there is responses coming from those communities.
So those responses will then get redirected to the closest CV Outreach partner in that area, which isn't ideal because again, we want We want people coming through the doors and getting invited to church. So I mean, that's something that we're looking at. I know that I've reached out to quite a few of our CV Outreach partners in South Africa, and I've got quite a good response from some guys. And I know there's some other churches that are working towards reaching out to their network of churches at the moment.
So like kind of going from a denominational level down.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what's happening at the moment.
So it's super busy.
Yeah, it's very super busy.
One thing that I think is worth elaborating on as well is that obviously the technology that we're using with CV Outreach really is, the idea is really to connect people to your church, but people that are actually close to you. So what Zach's mentioning about responses in Polokwane or Uppington is that what's happening is we're having responses come through from those areas, but then the AI or the technology that we're using is then determining what's the closest church to that person, then sending the response there. And that church could literally be like 1,000 kilometers away. So obviously it wouldn't necessarily be in your community. And that's why sometimes you would get a response from someone outside your community. But it is just because obviously as we're trying to spread that network of churches, you know, it will always send to the closest church.
Absolutely.
So just quickly, maybe talk about, I think what some people don't actually know about CV Outreach is it's not like it's not this rigid thing, like you sign up and it just, you know, it just is what it is. Like a lot of what we're trying to do is we're trying to tap into to Google keyword searches, kind of trending topics at the moment, you know, like we want to be on top of the biggest things that people are searching at the moment. And a lot of that feedback actually comes from you, at your local church, you know, telling us, you know, what are some of the questions, what are some of the issues in your community, you know, in South Africa, what are some of the issues that need addressing?
Absolutely.
You know, we run, how many content pieces do we currently run at the moment?
The last I counted, we have, in terms of landing pages, we're sitting at around 14 to 15 per page.
So that's 14 different topical videos that we're running. But what's really amazing
it's topical. Sorry to interrupt. It's topical in terms of what people are searching, but some of those topics may be covered by the same video.
Okay, cool. So, the reason we're telling you this is that again, we would love suggestions. Like, you know, if there's a specific video that you're looking for, a specific topic that we could produce content around, let us know, because we would love to go into production and produce that piece of content and then run ads to that piece of content. If you're hearing weird noises in the background, it's actually, we're setting up a Christmas tree already. I know it's only November, it's crazy. Christmas trees. We're actually going into a Christmas production, so Tammy's over there making a noise. So she's going to be in big trouble after this. Now I'm joking. So let us know on the content front. Again, like as I said earlier, CV Outreach isn't this rigid thing. It isn't this like dictatorship. You know, we really want to be in partnership with you guys. We really want you guys to give us feedback, for us to be working with you guys. You know, that's the sign of a true partnership, is, you know, obviously two-way communication and you know, being able to help each other back and forth. Absolutely. So let us know. Obviously, the same goes for all our amazing partners in Kenya. You know, Kenya is obviously very different in terms of the struggles and the issues compared to South Africa. But again, we want to be able to produce topical content and run ads that are actually going to be effective. We don't just want to run ads for the sake of running ads. So that's a big focus of us for this year. Also, stuff to look forward to next year is next year we're going to be releasing social partners, which basically means we have a whole bunch of cool content that we've produced over the years as CV, and we want to make it available to you to be able to share on your social media platforms. So that we're going to be introducing that next year. And another thing I really want to encourage you guys with is something that we've been looking to kind of build on every week is every month, is really just kind of supplying you guys with resources to use that you can use when trying to answer some of the questions that people are messaging in with. Again, we don't expect you guys to have all the answers. We certainly don't, and we get a lot of response every day, so we're constantly learning and having to leverage certain resources. So the resource I wanted to mention this week is actually a website and an app called Got Questions. It's a phenomenal resource. It's actually run by a bunch of theological scholars, and what they do is they answer questions across the board, from deep theology to just who is Jesus, why is the Trinity, what is the Trinity, all basic questions, but it also goes into deep theological questions. So it's a great resource to use, especially if you want to, you have a question that you don't quite know the answer to. It's a great resource to jump in, type the question in. 9 times out of 10 is an answer. And if there isn't an answer, you can actually submit a question and then they'll answer it and come back to you. So awesome. Okay, that's it. I will link the Got Questions tab below in this emailer for you to have a look at. Again, if you hear from Zach in the coming days or in the coming weeks, he's overseeing South Africa. Yes. I'm overseeing Kenya. And again, if you guys have any questions, anything at all about CV Outreach or even what we do here at Christian Vision in Cape Town, in South Africa and in Africa, please shoot us a mail, reach out. We'd love to hear from you. Zach, final words. Anything, any parting words, words of inspiration?
No parting words. You put me on the spot. Thanks, Nick. But
Zach doesn't do well on the spot.
I don't do well on the spot, but
okay. Anyway, so Zach's final words are, I don't do well on the spot. Have a phenomenal month of November. It's almost the end of the year. We will be coming to end of November just with some of the stuff we're going to be running around Christmas. But have a phenomenal November. We look forward to chatting at the end of the month.
Awesome.
Cheers.